It was just to bring to attention those who are extremely late. So it is sort of like an iqamah, not even an adhan. So, inshallah, if we get the chance, we will talk about these things in detail. The other hadith that I narrated is, Abu Hurairah says, every deed of a person that is good, Allah gives you 10 times the reward, up to 700 times, especially Ramadan. Every deed in Ramadan is multiplied to the extent of 700 times. Illa sawm, except fasting. Fasting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. Fasting is not limited to 700. Allah says, I am the only one who will pay fasting as I please. فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. It is for me and I will be the reward. One meaning means وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ, وَأَنَا الْجَزَاء, I am the reward. The second one is وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ, I am the one who is going to reward. So Allah, when He rewards, we know that it is something that is infinite. And if Allah is the reward, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ الْجَزَاء, if Allah is the reward, citing Allah is the reward, then there is nothing greater than seeing your Lord. Both ways. Whether Allah rewards you, it will be indefinitely very big. Whether Allah becomes the reward such that you see Him, then mashallah. Then the hadith says, why? It's because He leaves everything for me. Amazing to say, there is no had for someone who does not fast Ramadan. لا حدود لفاطر الصوم في رمضان. There is no had. There is no specific punishment for anyone who does not fast in Ramadan. It is up to the qadi. So there is no government on your head. That's why Sawm is supposed to be khalisan lillah. There is no one to prevent you from eating. No one will know whether you have eaten or not. You can have the driest lips and yet you have eaten. And you can have the moistest lips and yet you have not eaten anything. So if someone tells me that I can know by your lips, you are lying. The only thing between you and your Lord is khawf, taqwa. You have everything in your fridge. You have your halal wife. Yet you prevent yourself just for the sake of Allah. Why? Allah is teaching you a lesson. That if you can prevent yourself from eating halal and going and being intimate with your halal spouse just for my sake, what prevents you from abstaining from haram and haram spouses for my sake? One of the lessons. If you can do it for my sake from your halal, why can't you do it for my sake by abstaining from the haram? And I say this with extreme grief, that today we go into Ramadan very pious and righteous, but we come out with nothing. Why? Because first and foremost, there is no sincerity. Secondly, we are not strategically placed. We do not plan strategically how to make the best of Ramadan. In Ramadan, we are not supposed to do too many deeds and then after Ramadan you forget about them. Just pick on 1 or 2 or 3 deeds. And if you are, mashallah, pious and righteous and you have imbibed a lot of values in you, make sure you imbibe those values in your children. Children should not only just be told to fast. They should be shown how to fast. And fast should not be such that the whole day you are sleeping. The child is sleeping the whole day. Oh, he's fasting. What are you teaching him? What are you teaching him? You are teaching the wrong values. You are teaching that during fast he's supposed to sleep and sleep and sleep. No, that's not the norm. You are supposed to teach the child that fast should not drain your energy. In fact, it should give you maximum energy. For fasting, you should be much more active. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu has memorized 5,475 ahadith, which is not easy. And he said, I did it all when I was in the pangs of hunger. When you are hungry, your mind is alert. It is easier to memorize the Quran in Ramadan than in other months. Look at the Huffaz. The Huffaz, he will sit for just half an hour, go over juzu, and it is there. And in the other months, he might sit the whole day and still make mistakes. When your stomach is empty, your brain functions more. That's why you see those people who came up with inventions or with unique things were people who are poor. It is very hard for a rich man to come up with an invention. Why? Because he's already fed. He has life at ease. I remember in the book that Sheikh Nahyan of Dubai wrote, and he said, my forefathers were poor, so they worked hard and today we are rich. And several generations later we become poor again. Why? Because hard times makes tough people, and tough people make life easy, and easy life makes weak people, and weak people become poor. So sometimes when you are going through hard times, that is the best time to realize that now you can take advantage of your life. So in Ramadan, instead of just lazing around and sleeping around, teach your children how to be most energetic. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the person who fasts only for me has got two occasions whereby he'll be extremely happy. One, عند فطره, when he opens his fast. Second one, عند لقاء ربه, when he meets me. عند فطره has two meanings. We all know the joy in the evening when we open our fast. That is one. عند فطره, when he breaks his fast. عند فطره also means عند في عيد الفطر, when he completes his fast. One, he breaks his fast in the evening. One, he completes his fast. That is on the day of Eid. On the day of Eid, we know the joy that we have. We just want to direct this joy such that even those who are not very able can celebrate. And this one I'm going to point out very explicitly. Zakat al-Fitr. I'm not going to go into details. Zakat al-Fitr is wajib on every middle class. Anyone who is liable for taxes. If you are earning anything above 15,000 Kenyan shillings per month, you are liable for Zakat al-Fitr. There are different opinions of different scholars. But Zakat al-Fitr is not a specific amount of 300 shillings. We see in the Masajid they've written 300 or 350 Kenyan shillings. No. In the Hadith, there are 4 types of Zakat al-Fitr. Dates, barley, wheat, and grapes. Dried grapes. Date, barley, and wheat. These are the staple foods of some people. But dried grapes is not a staple food. It's a luxurious item. Dried grapefruit is not a food, it is a luxurious item. When you eat it, you feel joy. So I went down and did my research and found out that why is it in Medina, each one is giving a different amount and each one has a different price. Barley and wheat is cheaper than dates and dried grapes. And in dates only there are different types. So what was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us? And then the reason for Zakat al-Fitr is that the person next to you, your neighbor, should enjoy, don't feed, enjoy. The hadith says that he should enjoy. So if, for example, you are living here in Halingam and you have people from Kibera and Kileleshwa, and you can give them 300 shillings. Yes, 300 shillings will feed him. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to ask yourself that when I go out with my family to enjoy, what do I buy? A combo meal. How much is a combo meal? 1200 Kenyan shillings. With the chips and the soda and the fries and everything, and the chicken. So you are supposed to give 1200 Kenyan shillings so that this person can also go and buy a combo meal. If the person from Kibera goes to KFC or another halal restaurant and buys a combo meal, he will be joyed. But when you give him 300 shillings, he will just feed his family. We are not supposed to feed them on Eid Day. We are supposed to make them happy. Enjoyment. Zakat al-Fitr is not for feeding. Feeding is zakah. Zakah is already taken care of, feeding the poor and empowering the poor. Zakat al-Fitr, the main purpose of Zakat al-Fitr is for enjoyment on the day of Eid. So don't go around giving 300 Kenyan shillings because the masjid or the imam has said no. Ask yourself that when I am enjoying with my family, am I the higher class or the middle class? Yes, for the middle class, 350 is okay. Why? Because for 350, they can enjoy by buying some chicken and rice. But if you give me ugali and sukuma that I eat every day, and you say, this is what I can afford, it is wrong. Because you are feeding me. I'm not supposed to be fed on Eid day. I'm supposed to enjoy that day. And that is why it is given before the Salat al-Eid. In fact, some ulama say a day before. So that this poor man already knows that he has money to make sure his children will be happy. So that when he goes to Salat al-Eid, he is not stressed. That's why when you pay Zakat al-Fitr after Eid, it is just a sadaqah, it is not a ibadah. The main purpose of Zakat al-Fitr before Salat al-Eid is to make this person relax and be peaceful. Have the peace of mind that I have 1200 Kenyan shillings in my pocket today. Today I will enjoy with my family. Imagine how we will pray Salat al-Eid on that day. Imagine the person who knows that he can really enjoy with his family today. He can go to Luna Park, he can go to KFC, he can go to any other halal restaurant and enjoy with his family. So this one, when he prays Salatul Eid, he will be overjoyed. But this person comes to Salatul Eid and he doesn't even know whether on the road he will get that money or not. That's why Zakat al-Fitr is not supposed to be given when you're going to the Musalla. That is one thing I want you people to avoid. It has become the norm. You find organizations standing there asking you, Zakat al-Fitr, Zakat al-Fitr. It is wrong. Give it a day before. It should be given immediately after sunset on the day of Eid. Before then, that's why it's wajib, and anyone who sees the sunset of Ramadan or sees the sunrise of Shawwal, it becomes wajib. Give it a day or two before. So this person knows that he has money that he can enjoy with on the day of Eid. And don't give it to organizations. Zakat can be given to organizations, but Zakat al-Fitr no. Because Zakat al-Fitr is supposed to be given before Salat al-Eid. So when you give it to an organization, what are the chances that they will give it to the poor person before Salat al-Eid? Zero. Yes, if you know it's a madrasa or a school that is catering, so this one becomes a trustee. So he's receiving on behalf of that, but he becomes the owner immediately. That one is allowed. But whereby organizations are going around that we are collecting Zakat al-Fitr so that we distribute among the poor, it is not allowed. Why? Because it will be done way after Salat al-Eid. This one will not give joy to the poor person. It will not give joy to the poor person. So don't give to organization. Make sure the ownership is given to the poor person before Salatul Eid. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا خَلُوفُ فَمُّ الصَّائِمِ. Now during fasting, because of the gases of the stomach, some odors come out from the mouth. And sometimes they are not very pleasant. Two things. First and foremost, this hadith does not mean that you go around with a smelling mouth. You don't go around with a smelling mouth. And if everyone tells you, hey, the hadith says it is better than misk, no. This one is just giving an example. One thing that we do when we brush our teeth, we concentrate on the teeth and the gums. No. In the hadith of Bukhari, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when it came to miswak, he used to do miswak on his tongue. And it is written the words clearly. He used to do ah. The tongue is the one which connects to the stomach. The gases that come from the stomach, when you rub the tongue properly, all the gases come out, your mouth does not smell. When you brush your teeth, it's only the particles that will go away. That one you can even gargle and it will go away. Brushing is not for the teeth. Brushing is for the tongue specifically. And that's when the hadith, when the Prophet used to rub his tongue until the ah comes out, it is because it is connected to the stomach. So any gas that is there, and when you rub your tongue, after that the sputum comes out. Try it. When you just brush your teeth, you will just spit out saliva. But when you rub your tongue, and especially today the clinical toothbrushes, they have got the head behind so that you can rub your tongue with it. The miswak of the stick was natural. So you're supposed to rub your tongue such that all the sputum comes and you spit it out. And the chances of you having a smelling mouth will be almost zero. And if you are doing after every salah, the way the hadith says, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل صلاة. If you are doing it after every salah, then the better. What if there is a taste in the miswak? Yes, some ulama say it is makruh. Remember, the common toothpaste have got some sort of taste, but even the miswak of the stick has a taste, depending on which tree it is from. Whether it is lemon or orange or anything else. It is not one specific tree. There is nothing wrong with swallowing that saliva, because it does not break your fast. That taste or that essence cannot feed your stomach, but it is makruh. But still it is allowed. So if you are doing miswak after every salah, it is better, so that you don't go around with a smelling mouth. And then you start quoting this hadith, na'udhu. No. This hadith is just trying to tell you that in any case, if your mouth is smelling because of the fast that you have done for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is still better than the highest, most expensive perfumes on this earth. If you are sincere. If you are just fasting because people are fasting, then the hadith says that some people, لَا الصَّوْمُ إِلَّا الْجُوعِ وَالْعَطْشِ. For some people, fasting is just a matter of not having food and water, nothing else. وَلَا الْقِيَامُ إِلَّا الْتَعْبِ. And then for some people, prayer will be just a way of tiredness, fatigue. But if you are sincere, then even, na'udhu billah, if your mouth is giving some odors that are very unpleasant to other humans, they are still far better off than the most expensive perfume. Why? Because of the sincerity. What now if you are arguing with someone or you are fighting with someone? What do? Because sometimes, especially for those brothers of ours who are using narcotics, mira, tobacco, pan, gutka, them, when it comes to Swaum, don't even go near them, especially when it is time to break the fast. I remember my Shaykh saying that when they hear the Adhan, Allahu Akbar, instead of going for the dates, they go for the cigarette fast. So, in such a situation, what do you do? And then also ask yourself, if in Ramadan you can abstain from cigarettes, from mira, from gutka, from pan, why can't you do it on the normal days also? So, when you're under these extreme conditions and someone argues with you, first and foremost, you're supposed to not argue with anyone. You're supposed to engage in ibadah, whether it's Ramadan or not Ramadan. But this one is also teaching us another thing, not only during Swaum, but even during normal days, it is best to walk away. the best remedy for anger is to walk away from the situation. Remember, we all get angry. Some people say, oh, you know, this one is too polite. The hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly states, don't be so sweet that people swallow you, and don't be so bitter that people spit you out. The Prophet, during his childhood, it is reported in more than one incident, Jibreel alayhi salam came, opened up his heart, removed it, washed it with Zamzam and returned it back. Two things here we learn. The open heart surgery that we do today, Islam taught us. But sad to say, for us it was just a story. Oh, the Prophet's heart was open and it was washed, and we really narrate it, especially during Siratul Nabi and Mawlid and all these days. But we never take into consideration that what is the Prophet telling us. Today we have the open heart surgery, the bypass. Amazing to say, there are two nerves in your calves, in your feet, that if they are removed, they will not bring any difference in your lifestyle. And those are the nerves that are used when they do bypass. Bypass happens in such a way that your artery gets blocked. So what the doctors do is they remove the nerve from your leg and put it here, join it here and here. That's what it calls a bypass. It bypasses that artery that is blocked. So it overlaps, it becomes like a bridge. So the blood now, and you can have two bypasses in your life only. Why? Because you've got two nerves. After that, it is not successful. There are chances, but it's not successful. So we the Muslims slept with those stories and said, look, the Prophet's heart was open. And the non-Muslims went and did their research. And today, although it is very pleasing to say that the best surgeons in bypass are Muslims. The best surgeons in bypass are Muslims. But the invention of from non-Muslims. So instead of just listening to stories, always think what was happening here. So the Prophet Muhammad had a bypass when he was a small child. And his heart was washed. The blood that was bringing anger was removed. That's why the Prophet would never get angry. Anger is part of human. So when you see me getting angry, say, this one is not a mu'min. Who said so? If you are not getting angry, you are not even human. If the Prophet got angry, who are you not to get angry? But it was still washed, the blood was removed. To show you that anger is part of nature. But how you react to it shows your humanity. Anger is part of nature, but your reaction to it makes you a good or a bad person. So the Prophet Muhammad had this bypass surgery when he was small. And I will also recommend that you read the book by Professor Adam. He comes here to pray sometimes. Professor Adam has written a very good book. Although the English is not very good, I'm not going to lie. But he has written a very good book on the research that he has done on the Prophet up to the time of death. He has even predicted or sort of given it a conclusion that the Prophet Muhammad passed away because of a certain fever. I'm sorry because I could not understand the English very nicely, so I could not make headway on it. But a very beautiful book. I also forgot the name, I'm sorry to say that. But Professor Adam has written a very good book when it comes to Quran and if you get the time, read it. And if he's still alive, please follow him up so that he can make sure that the English is, so that you understand what he's saying. And maybe you can reform it and republish it again. فَإِنْ سَأَبَّهُ أَحَدٌ, when someone abuses him, أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ, or abuses him. Now this is another thing. In the hadith it says that if someone passes in front of you, he's a shaitan. So, فَلْتُقَاتِلُهُ, you have to fight with him. But here a lot of people have taken it wrong, especially in Haram. I'm sorry, I had to get these incidents there. To the extent that If you pass in front of a person who is praying, he will hold you until he has finished his prayer and then he will beat you up. Subhanallah, subhanallah. Who told you that you are supposed to beat you up? You are supposed to prevent him. You are supposed to differ with him. But there are some people who are so mentally sick that they will hold on to you, forget what they are doing in their prayer. They will rush their prayer and after that they beat you up. And I've seen it with my own eyes. It happened to my own mother. It's very sad. First and foremost, Haram is a very big masjid. You cannot expect me to go maneuvering all the way. Secondly, you as a Muslim, you have been told you should keep something to prevent anyone from passing there. So if you have not kept it, it's you. So here, if someone abuses you or argues with you, فَلْتَقُلْ لَهُ إِنِّي امْرِئٌ صَائِمٌ, I am fasting. And this one should be on normal days also. On normal days also you say, I am fasting from arguments. During the previous times, fasting was not just like ours. In i'tikaf, when you fast and you do i'tikaf, you are not even supposed to talk to anyone. This is the sound of the Ahli Kitab. When Maryam alayhi salam was pregnant, when she was being asked questions, she said, I am fasting. When Zakaria alayhi salam asked Allah, how will I know that I will get a child? He said, don't talk to anyone. ثلاث ليال سوية فخرج على قوم من المحراب فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوه بكرة وعشيا. He used to do tasbih, but he used to not talk to people. Our fast is very lenient, but I'm sad to say that we have been given the public permission to talk, and we talk so much that we forget that we are fasting. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك وصلى الله على خير خلق محمد وآله وصحبه. السلام عليكم.